Hello, how's everyone? Oh, I didn't even think I would ever make it. I never thought I would make it back to Dance Without Music. It was so difficult. I don't know if you can. I have to say this, but I'm almost sure that I don't know if I can or not. But it was so fucking hard. I mean, to get to this back to this point, like I told you, um, with Dance Without Music, I have to go through hours and hours of doing things in order to come up, in order to do the next YouTube. And this one was like really, 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 really difficult. The last difficult one was, if you see in the beginning when I first started Dance Without Music, it had a warning on it, okay? And that was a turning point. And then after that, I figured no gravity, you know. If you want to, if you followed, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There can't be that many people that actually followed all the way through. Um, this one is, um, what happened is, okay, let me just start what happened. I was doing the precisions and I explained it in the updates that even though I do the YouTubes, I don't really do it for myself. I'm doing it for the YouTube and for everyone, okay? It lasts so long. I mean, it's not something that is outdated, okay? So I have to do all of them, but not realizing, which I kind of knew, but I wasn't sure, is that when I talked about the processing in my last videos, I talked about how the body processes everything. Well, you can do something to where you start processing, and once you start processing something that you want to do, say I'll usually use tennis. You want to play tennis, okay? So your body has to process information and become what your mind wants it to do, okay? So I was doing a very important part of Dance Without Music because we're doing the dance actually. But in the dance, we have to have a floor, okay? I'm going to explain it to you, but it's a conceptual floor, okay? So like when you dance in one place, you can pretty much go anywhere and still dance. It doesn't make a difference what your surroundings is, what your surroundings are. The reason why you can do that is because you develop a space or room in which you can do this or you can do that. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's probably why they never become a very good choreographers, or you never really see something spectacular. But anyway, to make a long story short, what happened is that I was doing something that was very, very complicated, but I kept pushing my body to do this. I wanted to do, it was almost like a floor, but I used the quadratic formula. It's all going to be explained. And what it does is I develop I'm going to say use terms because we haven't gotten there yet and it's very advanced. Just say I use the quadratic formula in order to form a room. And inside the quadratic formula, which is imaginary, but I'm not going to say it's not really imaginary to me, but I'm going to use that term, an imaginary room, so that I'm in more control, okay? So I was doing that, but it's very highly difficult. And my body started processing, or my mind triggered my body to process what I wanted, because I kept using muscles and I kept using things that I couldn't obtain what I wanted. So your mind develops a way that you can do it. I use tennis. Like for instance, you want to play tennis, especially if you're very young, and your body forms into the muscles that is needed and the nerves and everything for you to become a great tennis player, okay? However, the reason why I can do this and my body still does it, because I've been doing it ever since I was, like I said, when I was a little kid. I've been doing this. I never stopped, Okay, so I understand what was going on. So that time of the processing, and I stated in my videos when I was talking about, um, my panic attacks. When I was talking about my panic attacks, I was stressing what happens is very important. Stressing what happens when you process, okay? And you can get into a process, and people do it and they don't know what they're doing. You can get your mind, that your mind will set a process for your body, and once it does it, it's pretty much, you can't like shut it off. I mean, you can, but it's pretty much hard to do, okay? And you have to follow through while it's processing. The reason why I could do it because I did it so long. And it comes to a point and you have to catch it, and you have to see something new, and you got that, and then you catch it, and then you see something new. It processes, it goes step by step by step. It's so irritating. I don't want to keep using expletives, I think. I don't want to keep using the bad words, but, and it kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And I knew that I was in the right direction, but it was so, it's like a pain, but it's not pain. It's like operations, okay? That's the best way I can kind of demonstrate, trying to give you an example. It's like internal operations, and it will continue to do it until you get what you want, until the process is done. And I didn't want to do any videos at all, okay? But there comes a time to where, it came a time to where I was progressing so well, and I knew, actually like a month ago, I knew it was going in the right direction, but I don't take things for granted. I need to know if this is going to keep going on, because that would end, if I can't keep progressing, it would end Dance Without Music, which I really don't want to. So anyway, now it's at a point to where it's coming out of this processing. It's not really coming out, but it's got the final touches. And I felt more comfortable about doing it. Actually, when I do the YouTubes, it actually makes me feel better, and I actually progress more. But like I said, I don't take things for granted, and sometimes I get afraid. It's like, I won't be able to do it, because I don't take things for granted. I mean, I know I can do it, but I don't really trust it. But there comes a point in time when I have to trust it, and I have to keep going on, because it's going to keep doing all these things. So if you follow Dance Without Music, you know what I'm talking about. This one is going to be Precision Part 2. Very difficult, okay? We're going to get into it. I gave something on the updates, okay? If anybody follows this, they are going to be like X-Men, I swear. Because if it works for me, and I'm so old, can you imagine? Okay? So anyway, so this is how it's going to work now. Now we're going to get into Precision 2. Precision Part 2, because we went through all the precisions. And another thing I wanted to tell you, it goes backwards. The way we're learning, the way the mind works, okay, it doesn't really start in the beginning, because the beginning is the core, and the core is like everything. So what you do is you go like, let me get it further back. Like you start here, and then you go like, this is precision 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then part. If we're going forward, okay, let's just say, how can I say? Okay, going forward, okay. How can I show you? I can't really show you, but the only thing I can say is that it goes backwards. I'm sorry, excuse me. It goes backwards. Okay, so precision 1, okay, precision that we just did, precision part 1, okay. Now we're in precision 2, and it's actually backwards. Okay, so your precision 1 is part 1 is up front. Now you're going back, and it's precision part 2. If you can understand what I'm talking about. If you ever seen, and I'm almost sure they have it in New York and other places, if you ever seen the time clock that has seconds and it keeps going, going, going. I remember in New York they had it. I can't over by. I'm almost sure it was over by. It was over by New York University, I think. I'm not sure. That was a long time ago, but somewhere in New York, around that area, they have the clock that shows you the time. You know what time it is, and then it goes back and back and back and back and back, like a lot of digits. Okay, and as the digits go back, it's almost like slow motion. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, it's like going backwards. So now we made it to part 2. Like I said, I keep doing these things because I know it helps you, because you won't go through the pain that I went through. You'll know when you're going into the right direction. It'll be a long time, but I don't see how it happens before me. I have to figure everything out with a lot of pain. And when I make all these mistakes, the mistakes are so terrible. I mean, like, if I'm doing something, like when I was processing, when you process the information, it's just like, okay, let me put it so that you understand it. It's like when you're studying anything in college, or studying anything, okay, and you make a lot of mistakes, a lot of painful mistakes, okay. Well, you have to make those mistakes until you find the right way, okay? So anyway, you won't have to worry about that, because it is very, very, very difficult. Because I've already did it. It's just a lot of pain, a lot of torture. But I knew I know what I'm doing. The only reason why I could take the torture, I do pray a lot, but the only reason why I could take the torture, because I knew what I was doing, and I've been doing it for so long. I mean, so long. And there's one thing that lets you know that you're doing it all right. You don't change your personality. You get better. You don't get mad. You don't get upset. You pretty much become a very calm person. And another thing is you remain yourself. You don't change. The only thing you do is you know more about yourself. So it's such a positive way that you're going. If you don't have those things, you're not going in the right direction. I mean, if you're taking the course, if you're doing this course and you turn into this demon type person, that's not it. It's not like that. It's something really beautiful, to where you remain your person. You're not a different person. And the only thing you say is, oh wow, I was doing it this way. I never realized that, okay? So it's more like that. And it's a mixture of things. And this is very important. All of them are very important. I hate to say it, but you do have to start at the beginning. It's so big and it has so much value. I can even now see, when I was talking about turning on a dime, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? A lot of these things I don't want to do, but I'm doing it for everybody. I'm pretty much happy with doing simple things, but I mean, you know, it's real, so it's affecting me. You know what I mean? But now I can understand, like, turning on a dime and how it's done. So let's get into it. That's the, how can you say, like a pop rally. I got that. I did this part to get you going, okay? So now we're getting into it, okay? Remember, okay, I talked about the terms that we're going to use. The reason why you have to know that they're there, okay? I use drug terms only because it's so vague, and it's something very mental. It's something very, how can I say mental? It's kind of like mental, okay? So, but it has nothing to do with drugs, because I don't do drugs at all. So I'm going to take my vocabulary that I know about drugs, and I'm going to use them to make it into this positive thing, okay? So I'm just using the words like we use. There's a lot of words that we use, and this is just Dance Without Music. Everything I say is Dance Without Music. Even if I say quadratic formula or whatever, it goes along with as it relates to Dance Without Music. Okay, so remember, now the reason I don't want you to to find where it connects, but I need you to know that it's there. Okay, so we did the one thing. We're into the lesson now. Precision part 2. 1, but we don't have to say 1 because this is, Okay, so we did cocaine. Okay, remember what that is. We have this and this. The movement is the exact same thing. The movement here is the same as the movement here. Okay, so I can actually say, because we know the coordinates. Okay, on the natural coordinate side, and then on the other side. And remember, this thing flips around, but you have to know the natural coordinate is I guess I can say this is the side where the heart is on. Okay, so that's the natural coordinate. Okay, I guess I can say that. So I don't want you to, because it flips around, so you have to know that we don't use left and right. Okay, but one thing I wanted you to know is that this is very powerful, and I said you can't use it unless it's just going to come up, but you have to know it's there. But you can't keep doing it because you'll mess up something and it'll be too much, because it is very, very powerful. The only thing I can adapt it to what we study is hydrogen X, okay? But it's a different form. It's a different thing that I'm talking about. Now we're talking about movements, okay? So we got that there. Okay, now, when you get to a point to where you can see what makes that move, this move, and then that, and then travel. I travel from here. It travels from here. I have to say I because it's mine, okay? And I travel to here, okay? When you get to this point, you can see it, okay? And you can see it moving to transporting or traveling to here, okay? So that's cocaine. That's what I call cocaine. I use that term just so that you can understand all the terms, because that makes it something that I know you'll catch. So that's another reason why I'm using drug terms. Okay, now you just have to know it's there, but don't play with it. Like I said, it's very powerful, okay? Now the next thing is, I was saying, when someone asks you, I can say that too. Everybody gets it, asks, okay? And that's really, but some people say axes you, so it doesn't make a difference, I hate people who are so into, oh, you gotta say this, or you have to say this way, just as long as you understand this is linguistics, okay? Okay, so the next one is when someone asks you, where is you're walking. I'm not saying if you have a job and you do all these instructions. I'm not talking about that, okay? I'm saying that all of a sudden you're walking or you're doing something out of a clear blue sky, and somebody comes to you and says, do you know where such and such is? Okay? Your formation, you're taking what they say and you're getting the directions, okay? That whole process, I call it ecstasy, okay? Just that, but I said you can't do it unless it actually happens. Don't get somebody to do it, it's not gonna work. The only time you could do it, the only time you can call it ecstasy is the fact that out of the clear blue sky, honestly, and not if you have a job that gives directions, it's not gonna work. It's like you're walking or you're doing something and then somebody comes by and says, do you know where such and such is? Most likely not in your house. It's got to be something all of a sudden, okay? And your formation of that, as soon as they ask you, you go into an ecstasy, okay? That's ecstasy. That's the only time you're gonna come across it, okay? That's the only time, honestly, when you come across it. Not if you have a job or whatever, but you need to know that. I'm just saying that because there's many forms of ecstasy in Dance Without Music, okay? So we got that down. That's another, you just need to know it's there. You need to know the first one's there. You need to know cocaine is there. You need to know ecstasy is there. And then speed, okay? We're talking about weight, but we're going to pretty much get off of weight and go into speed, okay? And I use, where's my comb at? Oh, my pick, they call it pick. Okay, see, now, when you get a visual picture of, I'm going to drop this, okay? And the visual picture that you see is speed, okay? Okay, you got the visual picture. It's speed. That's what we call speed. So it's like that, okay? Speed, okay? But most likely it's not like when I move my hand, because that's totally different. It's more of, like I said, watch this. I'm gonna put it out of sight and then I want you to see it. Speed. That's speed, okay? So that's another thing. So you can pretty much drop things. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I don't want you to like, I know how Americans are. Americans are like, oh wow, I got an answer. Now let me do it 50,000 times. No, it doesn't work like that. Which leads me to something else, okay? Oh, what? I hope I get that point. Oh, this one was a good point. It was a good point, but it just, maybe I'll get it, okay? Okay, so now we did that. Wish I had that point. Let me do it again. Then maybe I'll get it. Okay. Oh, I said here. So let me do it. I was saying that, oh, how Americans are. They're like, oh, so let me do it 50. Okay, now I got it. Okay. Oh, so let me do it 50,000 times. Oh, why does it come and go? I said, so Americans go, oh, oh, that's the answer. So let me do it 50,000 times. Okay, yeah, okay, let me get it. Okay, I got it, okay. Now, I love that. You learn so much by not editing, okay? Okay, everybody said, this is something you also have to know. These are things you have to know in your mind, okay? Something that divides down, okay? You divide down in mathematics, a lot in algebra or in mathematics, algebra. I mean, sometimes your teacher would say, and in science also, because in chemistry also, they say things divide and they divide and they divide and they divide into infinity. That's not true, okay? As far as Dance Without Music, it's not true. You can get to a point because, like I said, what I didn't say it here, I don't know if I ever told you, but a measurement is not a number, okay? Everything has its own measurement, okay? Everything has its own measurement. Iron has its own measurement, but we use metric system. We're just learning about metric system. Haven't you ever realized why you can't get measurements, okay? It's because everything has its own measurement, but let them do it their way as long as they can, okay? Wood has its own measurement. Everything has its own measurement. Even we have our own measurement. Look at your friend's face or somebody's face, okay? You don't need a ruler or whatever. That's all you have to say. Oh, this person's nose goes here to here, and their eye is here, and then their eye is over here, and it's from here to here, and their mouth is from here to here. And you can keep doing it and keep doing it until you got that person's face down pat. That's their measurements, okay? So what I'm trying to say is everything every thing has its own measurement. So you can divide things down to a certain extent, and then you come to a point to where it doesn't divide down. It's a, I could just say, it's a, I can pretty much say something like a cell, to where there's an action that has to take place. Listen, there's an action that has to take place in order for this thing to exist. Okay, so you get to that part and you notice that that same action is in all the other parts. When you get to that division, then that's it. And inside that action is the thing, whatever it is. Okay, that's enough of that. So now we're getting into the dance without music. It's so much now. This is going to go fast. Now, this is precision part 2. It's going to be short, but everything I told you is very important. And yes, this is good timing. Now we're going to go. When you have your body and mind work together, you need mathematics. However, it's so much fun without numbers. There's no numbers. The mathematics has no numbers. However, it is mathematics. Okay, so we need numbers. We need mathematics, and like I said before, okay, for your mind to interpret things. Your mind is analytical. So when you hook your mind with your body, you need mathematics. Okay, so it's not, so you're studying mathematics, you're doing that right now, but it's all going in your mind. Okay, it does help your body though. The reason why I'm gonna tell you something the reason why I know it's true. When I took chemistry for the first time, wow, it was like I was swimming in a pool in my brain. Okay, also I took an accounting class. It was out of my major, but I wanted to know more about accounting, so I took accounting 1, and I took those tests, and my body was like interacting. Okay, so in algebra also, I mean, because I took algebra so many times, and I noticed, especially the last time, I would never get any grades on algebra. The last time I took algebra, I got an A on every test. But I did notice that my body interacted with the concepts of mathematics. I don't think it happens too much when you're young, but when you get older, when you're doing these mathematics, algebra or whatever, your body starts to kick in. Okay, so that's why I'm just trying to tell you that you need mathematics, which leads me to my coordinates. I want you to picture graph paper. Okay, graph paper. You know how I wanted to get an example, but I couldn't find it fast enough because I don't have time to do pretty much anything. And anyway, it's better for me to tell you and for you to imagine or use that when I'm telling you. There's squares everywhere. Okay, kind of imagine one in the center, but it doesn't have to be in the center. One square. Okay, in that square is the smallest. Like all of the squares are all the same size. Inside that square is like I told you, the division. It was divided all the way down, and in the square is nothing. Okay, it's just that space. Okay, that space. Okay, I want you to picture that space as I'm not gonna say did I say coordinates? How did I use coordinates as far as coordinates? I want to say natural coordinates. Okay, remember we have all the different coordinates. Okay, inside that small space, okay, we're going to liken it to ourselves, and inside that small space, which actually we're going to use for the floor, but that's another subject. But inside that small space, because it is 3-dimensional, however, we're just going to I'm keep it simple now. In that smaller space is the coordinates, all the coordinates. Okay, we have the natural coordinate, the other coordinate, the between coordinate, and the, remember the real coordinate? I'm almost sure I called it real coordinate, but that's if you jump up, that's a real coordinate, okay? Or if you fly or whatever. No, I can't say when you fly. I'm just joking. If you're flying, you're in the real coordinate, or when you're laying down in bed, that's the real coordinate, okay? When you're sitting down, I let's not go there, okay? So anyway, so we have all the coordinates inside that one square, which is the smallest square, okay? So if I can move, so there's so many things that you can do in that one coordinate, in that one square. And remember, we're liking it as you in that square. Now inside that square, picture, okay, you see the whole page of, one whole page of you see one whole page of graph paper, okay? Inside that one square is like a whole page of graph paper, okay? Likened to all the things that you can do inside that one square, okay? Okay, now hopefully if you can get that. But now we're back to just that one little square. That means if I move up one square, I'm not in the first square, now I'm in the second square. That means I travel from one square to the next. And I can move up again to the next square, okay? Now, where I'm moving, because everything is really three-dimensional, okay? But we're going to use that just as the floor, because on the paper, it's just like if you put the graph paper on the floor. That's what we're going to do as far as, that's where we're going to start. And that's where we're going to make this quadratic floor, okay? Everything related to Dance Without Music. So now, remember that one square, okay? I hope you can follow this, but you will, because I'm going to keep going with it. But now I'm going to show you, and we're still going to do the dance, because this is going to, it's going to aid us in doing the dance, okay? We still have Michael Jackson's Thriller dance, okay? Only we're in another realm. We're going in another, we're in a realm, but we're more secure inside the realm, okay? So let's do that, and then it's going to be over. Okay. Okay, so you don't really have to see my feet. The only thing I want to do is show you what I can do inside that one square, okay? Before I couldn't do it. It took a long time for me to even start this, okay? So here we go, okay? Now, I'm here. I'm going to go to the natural coordinate. Now, we have balance, okay? One thing I want to tell you about balance, okay? I'm sorry, I always do this anyway. Balance. Balance, picture, I can say imagine a lot of things. I'll use simple terms for now, but just say imagine, okay? That there's balance. In order to balance, we need a line, okay? A line that goes straight up. We have a line, we already know about the fall, okay? We already know about the speed, okay? Okay, I'm not going to tell you that yet, okay? We already know about the speed, okay? But there's a balance, okay? And remember, now you already know, okay? Because the only thing I want to say is that balance is a point, okay? Okay, a point now, for now, is going to be on the floor, because that's what we're doing. Okay, then we're going to finish this really quick. Okay, so, and remember the square, and you don't have to see my feet, you just need to see the balance. And you should know which coordinates I am in. I can't explain everything over and over again. So we have 1 point to the next point, okay? to this point, and then to this point, to this point. Okay, so let's do it again. We have 1 point, and this is the balance that's going up. So this is a point as far as it's on the floor because we're in that little square, okay? To another point, okay? To another point, to another point, okay? And we could do this in that point and this point, okay? Okay. So we could have one. We don't use numbers. We have this point for this coordinate. We have this point for this coordinate. We have this point, and we can also go to this coordinate. And then we can go. We're going up, which we're going to go to this point, and then to this point, and then this point, and then this point. Okay. Okay. So that's it as far as the dance. It's the dance without music, something that we're going to use. So you see that in that square on this, we got the paper up this way, but it's on the floor, but we got the paper up this way. So we got a point here and we got a point here, and we also have a point here for the coordinates. We have the natural coordinate, and then we have the natural coordinate, the other coordinate, and then we have in between coordinate. And then I took something and we went up here like this. So this is all inside the box. Now we call it we can say a box. In that box, like you saw on the paper. And we went here to this coordinate, and then we switched over to this coordinate, but we also could go to this coordinate. So we have 3 points, okay? 3 outer points on the line. And this is on the line, this is on the line, this is on the line. And then we had a diagonal on a line, on a line, on a line. Or it could have went to this diagonal, okay? But we did all of that inside the box. And that's it. Now there's only one more point I want to tell you as far as speed, okay? So I already told you about the speed. I already told you how, you already know what it looks like. So when I say speed, you think of that, okay? It's always there, but the speed is not, like I said, it's from weight. We got a property of weight. Speed, we're going up, we're going backwards. Now it's speed, okay? Speed is, you cannot walk with speed, okay? Because it's going down. I want to take a book, okay? I like to use the book, okay? This book is going, this is a good book. I really enjoyed it. I like Christian. But this, I just like the way he writes. Okay, this thing is going down, okay? I mean, that's a direction, but remember, fourth direction speed. That force, we already know, we don't have to worry about the direction. What's highlighted is the speed. This is highlighted, not the force is highlighted, but the speed is highlighted. Okay, as far as force, direction, speed, but it's always that way. But it's not going to change. It's not going to help you walk. But you need Hydrogen X. I already told you Hydrogen X as far as dance without music. That's the only thing I want to tell you about what happened. The reason why I want to say that is because in order for me to lift this, speed is going to go down. I have to take I need another power, okay? I have the power of gravity, not gravity, please, why did I say gravity? I mean, of speed. I have speed, but speed is not going to help you walk. It's just not going to do anything, okay? But you need the hydrogen X, and it carries. Oh, it will pick it up. See, I'm going to pick this up, okay? And when I pick it up, I can put it down, okay? And I put it down with the hydrogen X. That's as far as I'm going to go for now. But you have to know that because it causes pain when you don't understand that there's two things, okay? Because if you pick up, the hydrogen X can go anywhere, but if you put it in the wrong place, it's going to cause pain. Or if you think about speed, which I said, it's a relation of weight. If you think about speed while you're trying to move, speed is just going to go down, it's not going to work, and that's going to cause kind of pain too. But if you know how to pick it up, and you're picking up something has nothing to do with weight, but you're picking up the speed, okay? I know it's like a pun or whatever, but it's really picking up. It's like me picking up this book, okay? Like I told you, I can feel the speed of it going down, okay? I can feel it. I have it in my hand, okay? But I can move it. I'm not moving this with weight. I'm not moving it with speed. I'm moving it with the hydrogen X, okay? It's another power, and I call them all powers. We can't call them forces because that kind of messes up things. We call them powers. And then there is another power, which is totally different, but the plural powers is relating to things like weight, speed, you know what I mean? We're going to call it speed now, okay? So, when you move something like this, okay, it's not weight that you're moving it. You're using another power, okay, which does not mix with speed. Now I told you about that later on. If you mix speed with, just like you don't want to mix drugs, I'm glad I used drugs. I mean, not use drugs, I'm glad I used the term drugs, because you can't mix those things, and you can't mix the powers. If you mix the powers, it's going to cause problems, okay? That's why you can actually make a car. This is just finished. I'm finished now. But you can actually make a car that doesn't wreck. I mean, that does not crush when it hits something. Okay, that's one of the things that could be a byproduct. This study could be a byproduct of, but I'm only one person, so everybody has to get to know it to where they know, and then they can make safer things. Okay, I also believe that a plane that falls does not have to crash. The only reason why it crashes, the only reason why a car crashes, is because the powers are mixed. Okay, like we said, we have a hydrogen X, and then we have the speed. Those two mixed together causes problems. And anyway, that's it for Precision Part 2. Thank you very much. Hang in there.